Welcome to My Healing is Your Healing, a podcast for the woman who is ready to stop performing and reclaim her voice. I'm your host, Celeste, and around here, we don't do surface level. We go deep. Each week, we'll explore concepts like self-discovery, radical honesty, and the kind of healing that rewrites your story from the inside out. This is a space for truth-telling, for remembering who you are, and for coming home to yourself, louder, braver, and more radiant than ever. So come as you are, and let's do this together. Let's begin. Welcome back to My Healing is Your Healing. I'm Celeste, your host, and today we are stepping into a conversation that I know will resonate with so many women. The reality of living with chronic illness and the journey to finding healing when the answers that you're given are just not enough. So many of us are carrying silently these conditions like migraines or autoimmune disorders or fatigue or even just pain. And the hardest part is that we're often doing it while still trying to be everything to everyone. We're holding careers and raising kids and managing households and living up to endless expectations. And it is exhausting. And it can feel hopeless when traditional medicine only offers partial relief or no real path forward at all, especially when your symptoms don't fit nice and neat into a box, or when you feel dismissed because your labs look normal. And I know the struggle firsthand. I've got Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid disease, and I've gone through countless rounds of trying different diets. I was gluten-free and dairy-free and caffeine-free and alcohol-free and did all of the anti-inflammatory resets. And it's frustrating because these things are very hard to stick to, and sometimes you can't even tell if they're working. And all you know is that you don't feel like yourself. You wake up in a body that feels foreign. You feel disconnected from who you are, and you don't know how to find your way back again. Add that to my experience with the fibroids and the constant trial and error of figuring out what actually helps. And I understand how lost you can feel when you just want to feel like you again. And that's why today's conversation matters so much. Our guest, Courtney Somma, knows this all too well. Courtney is a certified health and wellness coach. She's a holistic nutritionist and a personal trainer. And she started her career in the biological sciences, working in academia, lab research, and patient care. But after being diagnosed with several chronic illnesses herself, she hit a breaking point. The tools that she knew from Western medicine weren't enough. Instead of giving up, Courtney forged a new path. She began studying anti-inflammatory nutrition, the healing power of mindset, and nervous system regulation. And in that process, she reclaimed her health. Today, she's off medication, living with far fewer symptomatic days, and she helps other women discover the same truth, that your body is for you, not against you. This episode is about more than just health. It's about resilience. It's about empowerment. And it's about reclaiming hope and reminding yourself that your life can begin again. So let's dig in. Hey, Courtney, thanks for being here today. How are you?
I'm doing well, Celeste. How are you?
Pretty good for a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday, right?
Today, yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to keep track of. All right. Well, so I have a little bit of your story that you've told me a little bit so far. So I kind of just want to dig in and start off right there. So you told me that you've lived through multiple diagnoses while raising young children and navigating a busy life. So can you give us the short story of your story, the short version of your story, and then what it felt like to hit that breaking point where traditional medicine was not working?
Ooh, a short story? I'll do the best I can. So for many of us women that are dealing with any sort of healing, whether it be mental, physical, or emotional, it often doesn't appear out of nowhere, right? We don't just wake up and things are wrong. We may have that aha moment. And I, listened to some of your episodes already telling your story when you realized, this was the tipping point for me when I realized that, you're not living, you're numbing, right? So all of my, later teen and early 20 something years, I was riddled with chronic IBS, joint pain, migraine, and these are all things that are really common in our society, right? But they have a really huge impact on not only the individual, but the people around you. And things just continued to get worse. And I just started with the medication, bouncing from doctor to doctor, trying to find answers until I was in pain almost every single day. So I would have migraine symptoms over 20 days out of the month.
Holy
And
cow.
yeah, and it's interesting because I always thought migraine before I was diagnosed, I thought it was like the worst headache that you could ever feel. And it's not always that. Sometimes there's no pain with migraine. But there are other symptoms, and then the pain scale can actually range. So for what some people would call a headache, you just have that migraine pattern, but it can last for days. And even if you've got something that's a 3 out of 10 on the pain scale, when it's going on for 3 days, you're like, "I need a break." Right?
Yeah.
So I dealt with this for very long. Now I have a background in biology. I've worked in hospitals, like Western medicine used to be my jam. So I'm not coming here like I was raised by hippies and I'm anti-medicine or anything like that. Like that was my passion, but nothing was working for me. And there was a point a few years ago where like my husband every day when he came home, I would usually be cooking dinner around that time. And he would look at my face because he could tell by my eyes if I was in pain or not and how to like handle the situation moving forward. And there were a couple days that like I just remember sitting on the kitchen floor in tears, stopping what I was doing because I was having this visualization that like this was going to be the rest of my life. So finally, and it all started I dabbled in functional medicine, um, starting around 2020, but really what kicked things off for me was seeing a research article about um, plant-based nutrition and migraine and how it actually reduces pain and frequency. And I was like, nobody's ever really talked to me about diet before. You know what I mean? I did like the standard, low carb, high protein. I was working with a personal trainer and I looked great, but I felt like, I don't know if I can say another,
Can.
I felt like shit. Okay. Like it just was not good. And I really resonated with some of your story because from the outside, it looks like you have it all together. Like even my family, like my parents and siblings don't really know what was going on at home. Or if I would show up to things, I'd show up, but I was in pain. And nobody wants, like, you don't want to run around being like, oh, I don't feel good. You know what I mean? So you push through it, you put on a face, and then you come home and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to have a glass of wine because I'm going to feel like crap anyway. So at least this might help a little bit. Um, so in any event, everything kind of really started kicking off after I read that research article and I really started diving into holistic methods of healing with nutrition and lifestyle. And then about a year and a half ago, things like blew up with the whole mindset piece. And that's where like everything just started compounding for the better. And that's where we are now. I'm here to help other women on their journey that are struggling with these issues and may not realize that there are options. Because what we're told is that we're just going to try different medications and see what works. And I was literally told one day in the emergency room that I'm just going to have to learn to live with it. And I was like, my husband was livid. And I remember leaving the ER that day because I woke up and I couldn't move. I was in such pain. Like I literally couldn't move and we had to wait. And he's like, you're too young for this. We're going to the hospital. I'm like, this is muscular. It's tension. It's pain. Like they're not going to do anything. But they
Yeah.
literally were like, you're going to just have to learn to live with it. And I was like, okay.
That is so frustrating.
Yeah. So I want women to know that they don't to learn to live with it. So there's some coping for sure, but there's hope.
So I feel like a lot of us think that the things that we live through on a daily basis are normal just because society has told us like that's okay or that's what's supposed to happen. Right? Like we normalize like period cramps and headaches and, being tired or, whatever it is. And like you said, at the end of the day, or when you're out with people, you don't want to have to share that stuff with them unless they know you so well and they're like, "Hey, what's up?" Like I love the fact that your husband can look in your eyes and be like, "Nope, she's at a 2 today. Like,
Yeah.
we got to fix this." Yeah. Um and so yeah, you go home and you cope and then that just becomes your cycle and that's your survival mode. And until you're sitting on the ground visualizing this is what life is going to look like and nobody can fix it. Like you have to almost give up to be able to let go. And then the universe will just allow it to come back to you and you'll find the things that you need.
Oh, I just got goosebumps. I have goosebumps because I'm working a lot on that personally, like calling in what's divinely mine. And, we aren't put here, whatever your beliefs are, whether it be evolution or creation, we weren't put here to have like these failing bodies that just go
No.
haywire. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't make any sense. And it may be common, but it's not our natural state. So,
I'm glad that you and I are having this conversation today. This is actually the first time I'm saying it out loud to someone that's a stranger, but I have been having fibroid issues for the past like 5 years, and I actually have just now scheduled surgery to get a hysterectomy, like in a couple weeks. And for the first time, I don't feel grief about it anymore. Of like, my body is not broken.
mhm.
Like, I am not meant to live with this anymore, and I don't have to feel it. And this was the first time that I feel clarity in so long.
That's amazing to have that clarity and just understand like this is like everything will it will be okay. And oftentimes when we're living with these conditions, all we can see is what's right in front of us. And sometimes things don't look perfect. I never thought I would be doing this. I never thought that I'd battle migraine. Like obviously that's not ideal, but we're given these experiences, and I seriously have goosebumps right now because you're going to be able to help so many women that are going through this. Oh my gosh, the goosebumps are spreading to my face. But no, you're gonna make such an impact on their lives because that is huge, especially for a woman. So to be able to work through that clarity and be able to share that process with them if you so choose is massive.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. It'll happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is actually a really good question. How did living with chronic illness affect not just your health, but your confidence and your identity and your sense of belonging as a mom and a wife?
Oh, yes, doozies. Okay, so let's start with confidence. It was really low, and it's interesting because there's a lot of lack of confidence historically, even though externally I'm pretty confident. Like I was in sales for a very long time and I was great at it and meeting new people. My family always said, "Oh, like you're so outgoing, you'll talk to anyone," but like inside I'm like petrified. Um, so as far as confidence goes, you really lose it in a sense of you don't feel like you're capable of getting through your life or interacting with others or maintaining relationships because when you're in chronic pain and you don't know what's going to happen when you wake up every morning, how you're going to feel, like you can't make plans. And then if you do and you have to cancel them, like I can't tell you how many times I've canceled plans with friends and it's just like and I don't get that time a whole lot because I do have 2 kids and things like that, but I have a single woman who is a very good friend of mine. She's been my best friend for years, and I was canceling on her, and it's just like I felt awful, like I couldn't maintain this relationship, but also, like, she didn't understand where I was coming from. And then there's the piece of confidence where, like, it's hard to know if you're even gonna make it out, through an event, and you're just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then there's also confidence. Oh gosh, did I just lose it? It affects your confidence all around, and when you feel like you can't even get through a day, like, that impacts, like, well, will I be able to maintain a business? Will I be able to, like, do things with my kids? So confidence is pretty broad, but it really kind of beats you down because you feel like you're just this person with a chronic condition, which kind of leads into your identity. Like, so much of us feel like this is who we are, and this is something that I'm actually working on breaking this cycle with. Because our subconscious runs 95% of our lives, right? And our brain is in our body is listening to everything that we are telling. And the easiest way to explain to somebody what you're going through is to say, I have migraine. I have IBS. And every time we tell this story, which is true, but we are reinforcing that this is who we are. This is what I have. My body is this way because of this. And I'm working with myself to kind of break that connection. So right now I'm in the stage where if I'm trying to explain something to someone, I say I have been diagnosed with, because then I'm not taking
Like that.
it on as mine. Someone else may have gave it to me. Someone else gave me that diagnosis, but I'm not taking it on as mine. So just trying to break that identity. Um, where I'm going to go with this next, I'm not sure, but this is the best way that I found to, like, interact and even remind myself that this is not mine. I don't have to claim this every time I feel a negative sensation. You know what I mean?
I am now getting goosebumps. And it's really funny because I always say, like, my healing is your healing. Like, whatever story someone else is sharing, I am taking away bits and pieces and being like, oh, very interesting. This is how it applies to my life, right?
Me?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, take it all.
Yeah, the confidence thing, I absolutely feel you. Because it's almost weaning away your self-trust, right? Of being able to be a competent adult that functions in society. And so, like, it makes you question, is this person going to stay near me because of this thing that is associated with my life, right?
Yeah, 100.
And yeah, and it makes you feel less than.
Mhm.
But then that identity piece that you mentioned, holy crap.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, because when you say, like, I have a fibroid or I have to do XYZ, right? You are telling yourself that there's something broken and there's something wrong with you instead of, I
Yeah,
feel that. Yeah.
it's huge. I know, now I got goosebumps back. This is crazy. This is crazy.
So for women who might be pushing through these symptoms that are listening right now, what are some of the ways chronic illness or inflammation can show up in ways that we might be dismissing or normalize?
My gosh. Inflammation is involved in so, like, pretty much everything, right? Whether we've got skin issues is huge. Now, this is something that I dealt with. I dealt with perioral dermatitis from 2016 to 2023. It was on my face. That really affected my confidence. And I tried everything to get rid of it, all the topicals, dermatologists, and nothing worked until I changed my food and started working with stress. But kind of diverting back, like skin issues are wildly prevalent, and we tend to focus on the external, and it's not necessarily our fault because that's what, and nothing against practitioners. This is just the way they were trained. They're trained topically, not internally, to manage symptoms and not fix the problem. But that inflammation of the skin, we're either told it's genetic or we need to do all this topical stuff. And it's like, well, if we lowered inflammation, this is an inflammatory response. It's a window of what's going on inside. So that's something that's huge. Um, Chronic pain and even migraine, inflammatory markers are higher. And then also, something that's huge with that is regulating the nervous system to help reduce pain. Because when we're experiencing pain, our nervous system is responding inappropriately to some sort of stimulus, either externally or internally. And we all just kind of typically think, well, this is just how it is. It's normal to have this. But the inflammation piece, if we can lower the inflammation and calm the nervous system, then we don't have to live with all of these things.
I love how you said that inflammation is a window to the inside because I mean, a lot of the time, I feel like for me, whenever I get sick, I forget what it feels like to feel normal. And granted, it's probably only 5 days, right? But when you've been living with something like that for so long, 10, 20 years, man, you don't even know what is normal supposed to feel like.
And that's so true because, again, we normalize these things, and this is our daily life, our status quo, and something that a lot of women that I work with or am are thinking about working with me, they tell me, well, I just learned to live with it. And I was in that space, and you do because you need to cope. Otherwise, what are you going to do? You're just going to curl up into a ball and hide away until the end is near. Like, you have to learn to live with it, but we often take that to a point of like feeling like there's nothing we can do about it. So,
Or in your case and in mine, right? Like you go and try and seek help and they're like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. So just go along home.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So when you realized that Western medicine wasn't enough, what were the first steps that you took to explore other paths?
Well, first, I had started with some functional doctors. And what I realized with that, and this is nothing against them, I still think that they are functional testing and supplements and stuff like that are, helpful, supportive. I still take supplements every day. Um, but I essentially switched from pharmaceuticals to nutraceuticals, thinking that that was going to fix my problem. And it
What's the
doesn't.
difference? Sorry.
So the pharmaceuticals are just like the drugs and the nutraceuticals are the supplements, right? So um it sounds appealing. It's like, oh, this is holistic, this is natural, it came from an herb, and these things are helpful. Correct. But the mentality is often like, okay, well, now the supplements are just going to fix my problem. And it doesn't work
Yeah.
that way. So I tried that. I dabbled in like every elimination diet you could think of. Keto, low histamine. I was like, is it oxalates? Is it salicylates? Is it like all of the things? And then I came across that study I told you about, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't want to go plant-based. Like, what about protein? What about B12? Like, what about all this stuff? So I researched it for almost a year before I ever made a switch. And I was like, finally, I was like, this is horseshit. Like, I'm done with all of these elimination diets and thousands of dollars of supplements that don't work. Like, the amount of money that I've spent, and I'm very blessed to have been able to do this. Um, but it's money that I would have much preferred to spend on other things. Like at one point, I remember sitting down at the kitchen table and we were evaluating the Diamond Headache Clinic in Chicago. I think my uncle brought it up to me, and it was like $20,000 just to get there.
Oh
And
my
I was like
gosh.
bawling, and I'm like, is this like like, and what if they don't do anything different? Like,
Yeah.
what if it doesn't help? What if it's just like, oh, try another migraine medication? It's like, well, I could have done that here for a copay. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I tried so many things, injections, prolotherapy injections in my neck, like I went down the whole rabbit hole and, all of the functional lab testing. And what helped the most was nutrition, nervous system regulation with mindset, and like just cleaning up my lifestyle a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like those things aren't completely free, but, like, nervous system regulation, other than if you need to be taught how to do it, like, it's free. Like, anybody can stop and take a few deep breaths or lay on the ground in their backyard. You know what I mean? If you don't have
It's
a yard, go to the park, you know?
Isn't it funny how like you almost wish or expect that medicine will help you and you kind of roll your eyes at these, I don't want to call them hooey gooey because they're not, but it's just like these things that you could have been doing for yourself all along if you were just taught to take care of yourself and your body and your mind from the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, but none of us are, and it's not our fault. Like, we don't know what we don't know, but like my parents didn't know about like breath work, meditation, and grounding. Like my dad, I love my father very much, but he's very much of the camp that like, oh, like mental health issues are literally all in your head. And I'm like, no, there's a reason. Our mindset does play a role, but there's a biological reason that these things are happening. And it's just like, well, if we would have had some of these tools of awareness and mindfulness and slowing down, but also that points to our environment. Like, we live in such, and granted, I'm not getting rid of my laptop or my car anytime soon. I'm not trying to say that, like, um, but we live in this environment that is high alert all the time. We have more demands, more expectations. We're sitting in front of screens, and it's like amazing that humans can do all these things, but we're also not designed for it. Like, we were literally designed to live in a freaking cave.
It's so funny, like our like alert scanning for tigers and things are now like text messages and traffic and
Yeah.
like stupid things, right? That are not going to kill us. But it really is killing us.
And the first thing I think of is like, if somebody sends you a text message saying we need to talk, you're like, I'm gonna die.
Like, better stab me now
I
if our friendship is over.
it's so crazy because things have shifted. Like, we haven't caught up physiologically to the environments that we're in. So it's even more important now to learn these tools and try to regulate and just calm our nervous system. Because again, like pain, a lot of it is linked to an overactive nervous system and neuroinflammation. I mean, the nervous system infiltrates the entire body. So when we calm that, and we also, and again, stress increases inflammation. So when we calm our mind and our nervous system and lower our stress, it lowers inflammation. We have less pain. We have better gut health because the gut isn't like, ooh, stressed out all the time. You know what I mean? So it's just like this downstream effect that like works for everybody. And it's not that, it's not rocket science. It's simple. It just takes intention. And there are days where I'm like, I don't have time to like lay down and meditate, or like I need to get to work. I need to do something. It's not about being perfect with whatever we're doing. It's just about trying to make those decisions the majority of the time. And what I also notice is when I'm most stressed, and again, stress is a trigger for a lot of us, is that's when I need to actually stop and take the time to do it the most. So, like, if I'm,
But you're least likely to do it.
you're least likely to do it, but like once you bring awareness around it, it's like, okay, I need to pause. And maybe you don't go lay down for a 10-minute meditation. Maybe you just take a moment to be mindful and feel, the support underneath you, or do some belly breathing, something like that, taking that moment to get your nervous system back down and out of that fight or flight stress ball state.
Yeah.
Very scientific,
I like how you explain. Sorry?
very scientific term.
Stress ball state.
Stress.
Okay, so you told me that your mantra is my body is for me, not against me. And I really, really like that because I feel like it goes along with this. So, how did surrounding yourself with the right people and creating these daily practices that we're talking about reinforce that belief?
Yeah, so you really have to find your tribe. And I noticed this when I talk to different people, because there are some that like aren't on board with what you're doing, or like they're interested, but like very much so still just like the traditional Western medicine routes, go to the doctor, get a prescription, come home and live your life. Um, but finding the people, and I've had to do like a lot of finding people online. Like there's a ton of people with chronic conditions, and a lot of my friends have chronic conditions. There's a lot of autoimmune, a lot of gut dysfunction, like a lot of things, but just everybody's ready for different steps at different times. And usually what happens is there's a tipping point on the scale where the cost of staying the same is harder than the cost of changing, because change is very hard. And until that scale tips, people may not be ready or receptive. So, really finding people online that really focus on the positive. And I've tried to find community, Facebook groups and apps and things like that can be helpful. But I've noticed, and so I've also been diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is
Yeah.
ability, and it causes a lot of pain, and it goes hand in hand with like mast cell and POTS. So I've been diagnosed with the trifecta, and I joined an app that was a subscription, and I actually paid for the whole year, and I haven't used it in forever. And there was a community chat, and I was like, just trying to like gain some community, and then like you look at it and there's like everything's dismal. And I'm like, I know that we need to be able to connect and like vent if we need to, and really know that someone else is understanding what we're going through. But I also can't live in that space, because it's going to bring you down. So making sure you're choosy with your connections and where your brain is spending time. Are you nourishing your mind, or are you looking at like everybody and their horrible outcomes thinking it's going to happen to you? Because it may not. You know what I mean? Like it may be highly unlikely that you experience what they're experiencing. So it's really important to be choosy with those that you surround yourself with, both in person and online.
I like that a lot. I really wish we could keep going with this conversation. I'm having so much fun with you. But the last thing that I want you to be able to share is if you could leave one message with our listeners about healing, our resilience, what would it be?
Oh, it really is that your body is for you, not against you. I would have to return to that, because so much of the time we are looking at what's wrong, feeling like it's broken, and it's just trying to survive. It has done a really great job up until the point of getting sick or being diagnosed at like putting out fires. But right now, it needs your support too. It supports us, but it needs our mental and emotional support as well. So it is for you, not against you. You're not broken. And regardless of what you have going on, there are things that we can do to improve our situation. So all is not lost.
I am absolutely going to take that one to heart as I go through these next few weeks and like remember that my body is for me. It has done everything to support me that it could.
Absolutely.
So, how can people connect with you in the future if they want to work with you or see anything that you have to offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's all at especially Facebook and YouTube or Instagram and YouTube. Sorry about that. It's at Vitality Holistic HW. And my website is vitalityholistichw.com. And right now, I'm actually running a challenge that is going to be converted into a paid course. But specifically for your listeners, I'm going to turn this on for free access indefinitely. So, this is the Rewire Your Mind, Reclaim Your Health challenge. And it's going to be about 2 weeks of content in total. So, what they can really access is a lot of this mindset work. And we go into the science behind it as well, because for some people, this may be something they're ready to do. For some people, it might be like, this sounds woo woo. I need to see the tangible. So, I talk about the scientific evidence, give you the resources. There's a workbook in there, and there's also access to me in the chat. So, if you go to Vitality Holistic HW /MHYH, that's where your listeners can snag that. And again, it'll be completely free for them.
Amazing. I will put all of that in the show notes when we go live.
Cool. Perfect.
Thank you so much for being here today. It was so much fun to talk to you.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I hope that we get to connect again in the future. And I'm so grateful that you're here sharing your story and getting people on to chat with you. It's such a blessing. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I will talk to you later.
Okay, yes. It may feel like illness is breaking you, breaking your confidence, your identity, and your sense of belonging. When you're searching for answers and you want to feel normal again, it's easy to forget how strong you are. But here is your truth. Your mindset is just as important as any treatment or protocol. Just remember this. You are still here. You have faced countless challenges before this one, and every single time, you have found a way through. You will always find a way through this too. Even when it feels overwhelming, know that you're resilient. You are worthy, and your healing is possible. Rebuilding your health isn't about never getting sick or never feeling tired or doing everything perfectly. It's about remembering that your body is always working for you, even when it hurts, even when you maybe feel betrayed. Your body is communicating. And when you choose resilience through your mindset and your nutrition and rest and support, you reclaim your power again. If Courtney's story spoke to you, I encourage you to connect with her and reach out and explore her resources. And if this episode resonated with you, or if you know another woman who needs to hear it, please share it with her. And as always, please subscribe or like and follow wherever you listen. It's one of the best ways to support the show and to help more women like us find these conversations that are important. If you have comments or feedback, or even a story of your own, I would love to hear from you. Send me a message, shoot over to my website and leave a comment. You will also find the Radiant Women's Collective, where these conversations come alive in real time through workshops and panels and women's circles. You do not have to walk this journey alone, and I would love to support you. Until next time, keep showing up, keep growing, and remember, you were never meant to dim your light.
Thanks for tuning in and being here, for healing out loud, and for walking this path beside me. If this episode cracked something open or helped you remember a part of yourself, pass it on and share it with someone you love. For more support, free resources, or the next steps to your journey, head over to my website, myhealingisyourhealing.com. And if you loved today's conversation, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your words help this space grow and help more women find their way home to themselves. If I was your muse today, then my healing is your healing. Until next time.